Robert Plant's musical archive, the former Led Zeppelin frontman, Mr. Robert Plant. I used to do quick aside. I used to do a thing on my radio show called Led Zeppelin Facts, right? I'd be like, Robert Plant of Led Zeppelin, revealed on the Digging Deep podcast that he's been working on an archive of all of his solo material. And he's instructed his children. He said, children, when I pass away, please release this entire archive of my music for free on the internet. When I pass, it's going to feature music that's pre-Led Zeppelin and after and in between, maybe. I'm not sure how that works. But what kind of treasures do you think we're going to get in this box set, Dave? What's going to be in there?
I don't know. It's there's probably some goodies. Like there's going to be there's probably tons of material, first of all. And I don't know. I bet you it's going to be very expansive. Like just between the end of Zeppelin and up into what he's doing now is such a, and the Page and Plant stuff. It's such a varied style and feel, and so it's pretty exciting to find out. And what a gentleman to just start giving away, like to just be like, yeah, I don't care. I'd rather people hear it than like I'll give it away for free if that's the way it is. But I knew this about Robert Plant because I know someone who actually lived behind Robert Plant in England. This girl, when I was in college, there was this girl, Kate, and she showed me a picture once of her Christmas. Like I was like, how was Christmas? And she was like, oh, look at the size of my parents' tree. And I'm looking at this picture and I'm like, hey, this guy looks a lot like, and I'm like, who is this guy? She's like, Uncle Robert. I'm like, he looks a lot like Robert. And so apparently he was like his house backed onto their land, or actually his he had like a farmhouse that had horses. So they shared like a horse stable, like her grandparents shared a horse stable with Robert Plant. So I tried so hard to date this girl in college because I had these fantasies of these romantic like because he would come like he's such a gentleman. He would come with the horse-drawn carriage on Christmas and take people for rides. Like that's so in my head, I was like, I'm going to England. I'm gonna have Christmas with Robert Plant. I'm gonna get pulled around in a horse-drawn carriage, but it wasn't in the cards. A better man than me won that trip to England. But
romantic thoughts, not of the girl, but of eventually getting to go on a carriage ride.
She was a lovely young lady, but it was definitely swayed because she was neighbors with someone from Zeppelin for sure. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but
if there's ever been a better reason to pursue a romantic relationship, if somebody's like, if this girl could get me to Noel Gallagher, we got to make it happen.
You tell Uncle Robbie that Dave's coming.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to a nice horse-drawn carriage ride. Very romantic. I'm excited for this too. I think maybe excited for the pre-Zeppelin stuff because I'm not really familiar with this. How Robert Plant got into music in the first place. When it comes to bands, classic rock bands, I know a lot about how the Beatles got into it and the Rolling Stones got into it and how they developed their careers and how they got started. A little bit with Jimmy Page as well because of the Yardbirds and that kind of thing, but not so much with Robert Plant. And as a vocalist, I'm interested to see and maybe hear how he developed as a vocalist and how he became the iconic rock sex god that we know him to be now. So that's going to be exciting as well. You were saying Page and Plant, anything that they did in the 90s would be really cool if there's anything unreleased from that era. There's a record I have that he did in I believe it would be the 80s. It was a little bit more of a big band thing called the Honey Drippers. So anything that he has that would be from that era would be pretty exciting to me. And as you were saying, it's very cool of him to be giving this away for free after he dies, which we hope is not for a very long time. So when it does happen, we'll look forward to it. But we want Robert Plant to be with us for many, many years to come.
Agreed.
Mr. Robert Plant of Led Zeppelin.